Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us. K&A Custom Crafts on Facebook.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Tips and Tricks for How to Look Good Naked and why you should love your body even if you don't. I'm here with my co-host, Amber Riley. Actually, I'm her co-host. I'm just riding on her coattails here. So, Amber, I'm going to let you turn it over to you. You can say hello to everybody, and then we'll talk about what our plans are for tonight.
Hi, everybody. How are you doing? So today we're going to be covering the third step. So first week we covered breathing. Second week we covered hydration. And this week we're going to cover the step that most people are the most familiar with when it comes to trying to lose weight or trying to get fit, which is how to nourish your body properly. So I had mentioned earlier in the week or the previous week that you don't want to count calories. And the reason for that is calories is actually only a measurement of how much energy is in food. So it's not necessarily a testament of what you're consuming, good or bad. So you can eat 1,200 calories, but that doesn't mean you're eating 1,200 calories of something that's actually going to make you healthy and fuel your body. So when we're talking about nourishment, we're really talking about a macro diet. So your three primary macros is carbs, proteins, and fats. So when I tell my clients, so the first thing I want you to ask yourself at every meal is, what is my protein source? That's should be your first primary concern, because protein, by consuming protein, that is the only thing that is going to break down and turn into muscle. Carbs doesn't turn into muscle. Carbs just gives your brain and body energy, and fat just kind of gives you that full feeling longer. It's still not going to turn into muscle, and muscle is what keeps us healthy as we go. It's what prevents us from falling and breaking our hip as we get older. And muscle is the number one thing that burns calories and fat all day long. So when we're talking about like the percentages of how to break it up, typically you want about 10 to 30% carbs, 40 to 50% protein, and then 20 to 30% fat. Now, when I'm talking about fat, I'm not just talking about like the white substance on the outside of meat. That's not the kind of fat that I'm talking about. You want fat that's actually going to give your brain something. Now, you don't want to deplete. So a lot of people go on this low fat or no fat diet. Well, what most people don't realize is our brain is actually 76% fat. So no vitamins or minerals are actually going to get to our brain unless they're encompassed in some form of good fat. So first, when it comes to eating a macro diet, as I call it, the number one trick of how to be successful in this is meal prep. Now, I know most people roll their eyes and they're like, I don't have time for meal prep, but do you have time to think about what you're going to eat every time? Or do you have time to have to wait to the last minute and go through the drive-thru, which is going to give you less than par ingredients? So meal prep in the beginning may seem like a tedious job and then it takes a long time, but I promise you can get it down to a half an hour to an hour. So typically I spend my Sundays, not my whole Sunday, but a couple hours on my Sunday meal prep. Now it doesn't have to be full-fledged where you're pre-packaging everything in Tupperwares and so forth, but if you take the time to cook maybe your meats for the week, then all you're having to do is throw some vegetables together.
Perfect.
Let me give you a couple of benefits of meal prep. First of all, you're going to be far more likely to reach your health goals if you are pre-planning the foods that you're going to eat rather than waiting to the last minute to grab something to eat. It also saves you a lot of money. And that's kind of the key to whether or not something's going to work is how much money are we going to have to spend on it? So if you're pre-planning it and you're going to the grocery, you're more likely to be able to make one grocery trip as opposed to 2 or 3 grocery trips because of the meal prep. It also gives you some variety. You're able to not have to eat the same thing every day, every meal, but it also gives you 100% control. So let's say you're going to eat chicken and vegetables. If you go to a restaurant and order chicken and vegetables, you don't know what they're cooking those vegetables in. So typically, if you're getting steamed vegetables, I can tell you because I worked in a restaurant for years, what they do is they take those vegetables, they put a scoop of butter in it, and they nuke them in the microwave. That's how they cook it. So I learned from my days of working in a restaurant that if you want something without butter, you got to tell them you're basically allergic to butter. Otherwise, it's coming with butter, I promise you. And then the other thing is that it prevents that decision fatigue. So this doesn't necessarily go for everybody, but I know moms out there, how many times a week do you, when you're leaving work and you're thinking about, oh my gosh, what am I going to cook for dinner? And it's just exhausting to have to think of something every single day. But if you pre-plan that out in the beginning of the week, it takes away that that exhaustion, that fatigue that you get from just trying to figure out what you're going to eat every week.
I totally agree with that. And I want to, and I think this is a good point when we're talking about food and macros and pizza. I mean, pizza. Justin is saying that he eats pizza and that sticks to his body. But the reality is, he's also, I think that there is some nutritional value in pizza, and we certainly don't want anybody to deprive themselves. Justin's also an 18-year-old male, so anything probably sticks to his body, and he's very athletic as well. He exercises every day, so pizza may be a good option for him, but it may not be the best option for everybody. In respect to the fact that you would have to have it in moderation, I assume, and you have to count it into your macro count.
Well, and like when you're talking about eating healthy, guys, you don't have to eliminate whole foods. Like, for example, pizza, you can make the crust with, some whole grains or some even cauliflower crust. Marinara is not very bad for you. I would buy a low sugar kind because marinara tends to have a lot of sugar, but then you can load the pizza up with vegetables and protein, and it's actually not an unhealthy meal. So when you're trying to eat healthy, don't figure that you have to eliminate entire food groups, or you absolutely. So when you're doing a recipe, sometimes you only have to change one or two ingredients to make that dish healthy. You don't have to eliminate the dish altogether, because when we start to eliminate or tell ourselves that we can't have something, that's going to make us crave it all that much more. And willpower only lasts for so long, guys. Only lasts for so long.
And not very long.
Right.
And Justin's giving us a shout out. He's saying we have good ideas and we're smart. So that's why we like you, Justin. You're very complimentary. So we also have Randy out there. Randy saying, hey, ladies, I hope you are having a good day. I'm trying to wake up to watch this. But Randy, I have a big surprise for you in a little bit, and I'm going to call you onto the show so you better brush your hair and get spruced up, because you only have a couple minutes, because you and I are actually going to be partners, and we're going to talk about that later, but I'm going to give you a minute or two to get ready for that.
I'm excited for that.
I'm excited for that too.
So I wanted to give you all some examples of, when we're talking about carbs, proteins, and fats, what are some good sources of carbs? So any type of grains, oats, quinoa, brown rice, those are some good carbs. Your whole wheat pasta, whole wheat bread, so whole wheat pizza, you can include that. Starchy vegetables, so your potatoes, sweet potatoes, squash. Fruit is actually a carb, obviously, too, and it's a complex carb. It's not generally a simple carb, so it's going to take a little bit longer for your body to break it down, as opposed to some refined sugars. Any beans, lentils, peas, and then milk and yogurt is also considered a carb. So there's some foods that are going to be both a carb and a protein, and milk and yogurt are kind of one of those things. So that plays a dual role. And then when it comes to protein, your egg whites, so not the actual yolk, but the egg whites is the protein. Your meats, poultry, fish, tofu, if you happen to be a vegetarian, again, milk and yogurt, and then your protein powders. And then when it comes to fats, you're looking at your egg yolks, avocado and olive oils, your butters, your real butters, not your margarines and the fat-free stuff. Any kind of nuts, coconut oil, and coconut flakes. Avocado, although a fruit, is actually a fat. And then your full-fat milk and cheeses. Flax seeds, chia seeds, both of those are actually forms of protein as well. And then any of your fatty fish like salmon and sardines, stuff like that.
All right, great. So, and I don't know, Randy's saying he's kind of scared. as you should be, Randy. So you tell me, Amber, when's a great time to bring Randy in. I think we should bring him in, because I think that he'll probably have some questions. So Randy, if you want to pop in, come on in and join the party. and we can talk about what my idea is and see if you're open to it and what your thoughts are. So we'll give him a second to come in. So tell us a little bit about how your week was. I think we jumped right in. We felt pressure because we had some technical difficulties, but we always like to touch base with the viewers and tell them how our week went. And I'm going to let you start because my week and how it went kind of ties into why we're bringing Randy on. So tell everybody how you're doing, what you're up to, and how your week was.
So my week has been, I've been dealing with a lot of emotional stress lately. So, whenever we're dealing with any kind of trauma or drama in our life, it tends to affect everything. So it affects our workout regime. It affects how we eat because sometimes we tend to comfort eat.
Hey, there he is. Hi, Randy.
So I actually have not, I've worked out every day, but I can't say that I've worked out with like 100% passion. It was kind of like I was just going through the motions, but in my head, the way I look at it is as long as I'm maintaining the habit and I'm getting up and I'm doing something, it might not be a full-fledged workout, but I'm doing something to move my body and to release those endorphins. It kind of helps to eliminate some of that emotional stress. And then eating. So I've been drinking the amount of water, but I have not, for instance, tonight I had pizza for dinner. I had pizza. So, we all have our weaknesses. It's not that, one meal is going to wreck your whole diet or your whole healthy lifestyle. We've got to give ourselves some breaks because, we're not perfect. And if we deprive ourselves of everything we want, I promise you're going to want it that much more. If I tell you can't have it, you're going to want it that much more. And as we said, I don't know if this was part of the broadcast, but willpower only lasts so long, guys.
Yeah, and not very long. So Randy, how are you? We're talking about how we're doing.
Well, I'm tired. I didn't get any sleep last night until this morning. Had an hour, and I've been in and out of it all day.
Oh boy, I thought you didn't work last night.
I didn't, but because I work graveyards, it's hard for me to go to sleep sometimes at night when I'm not working. So,
oh boy. Well, we're going to try to think of some ideas that are going to tire you out, so you should be able to get some rest. So I'm going to tell everybody a little bit about my week. I'm very fortunate, and I was lucky to be on vacation for 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks. And really because of COVID, I had some vacations that I don't typically vacation that often, but some things stacked up. And the second week was with, I spent the first week with my children, the second week with 20 people, and a lot of them were kids. And I'm not typically a huge candy eater, but we had every kind of candy imaginable in that house. And I kind of overindulged for 2 weeks. So I am actually going to be, I think it's a great idea. I do know how to eat well, but I think that Amber has some ideas and incorporates some things that I don't typically do. And I'm going to give it a shot, and I need an accountability partner. So Randy, it's you and me. We're doing the program. We're going to be breathing, drinking, eating some great nourishment. I'm going to be checking in with you every day. Are you up to the challenge?
Yeah, it's gonna the whole eating thing is gonna be tough for me because I'm catching myself going to McDonald's every night on my way to work, and barely eating while I'm home if I have to work that night. So yeah, it's gonna be tough for me, but yeah, sure.
Why do you not eat it when you're at home before you go to work? Does it cause food or?
I just, well, for one, I don't have a lot of food in this house because I do live alone. And I want to say it's kind of like time. It's easy to stick something in to the microwave, but that gets costly too. So, yeah, so I wait till I just go to work and then I get something.
So have you ever calculated how much you're spending on that drive-through?
Oh man, I have before. I have, and it is just, it gets expensive to do, but then all of a sudden I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start making lunch at home and taking it into work, and then I do it for about, I want to say, a week, and then I'm right back to my old habits. So there's it's dedication that I lack.
Well, now
I'd be
you have.
willing to bet if
sorry.
you calculated how much you spent at a grocery store, let's say you went to the grocery store for a week and then calculated how much you're spending when you go through the drive-through, I guarantee you're spending more through the drive-through and you're getting less food.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I've done the calculations, and it's like I've got to stop doing this. I'm going broke, and then all of a sudden it's like, but it's so much easier and so much quicker, and then it's like, no, I have sandwich stuff. I could make sandwiches at home, and then it's like, and then I become, I procrastinate. I become lazy. And then when it's time to go to work, I'm like, oh, I didn't make anything. No, I guess it's McDonald's. I go.
But I want to
So,
say something about that. So I don't know if you realize this, Randy, but you know what? McDonald's sells salads. They may not be the most nutritious, but they're probably better than a Big Mac. So there are workarounds, and even at the grocery store, you can pick up a rotisserie chicken. There are ways to make convenient foods a little bit healthier. And I totally get, working graveyards is very difficult, but being unhealthy is difficult too. So you always have to choose your hard. And I think that the benefits, if you just get into a habit, and I don't know if you know the stats, Amber, I think a habit takes 21 days to form. I've heard different things, 14,
I've
21.
heard 21.
Yeah. So I think 21 is probably the benchmark. What do you think, Amber?
21 is a typical to kind of form the habit, but like research wise, it actually takes 66 days to implant it into like your long-term habit. So 21 to kind of benchmark it, but 66 days for it to really form a habit. What was I going to say? Totally brain fart. Sorry about that.
We all have it.
Well, I want to throw this out there since we're, I'm going to be Randy's accountability partner, and I've already started a little bit today. But the problem being that Randy's going on vacation. And how long are you going for, Randy? Is it just a long weekend or?
Yeah, it's just from Friday, and I'm back Sunday doing between the ropes. So yeah, it's just a weekend.
All right, so it's going to be difficult for him this weekend. So I just want to challenge you to do your best. I know there's going to be a lot of food there, and there's probably going to be some drinking going on, and we don't want you to spoil your vacation. But just think about it while you're there, and think about. And he's also going to be out of range for me to bug him. He's out of the internet range.
Well, I wouldn't call it bugging. I'd call it getting a hold of.
So he's going to be in the lap of luxury. I'm not going to be able to get to him unless I fly in and parachute down in Oregon, which I've been known to do crazier things, Randy. So I'm going to have an eye on you.
Randy,
Yep.
you mentioned that it takes a lot of time. So what takes more time, an hour once a week or the 15 to 20 minutes you're spending in the drive-through 2 or 3 times a day?
Generally, it's only like 2 to 3 minutes a day.
Well, there goes that argument.
But
Steal that one, Randy. Thanks.
Well, depending on lines,
So let me ask you this, Randy. How important on a scale of 1 to 10 is getting fit and healthy to you?
Oh, it's 10 being good, right? Or
10.
Okay.
10 being good.
Yeah, it's about a 9, 10. I mean, I've always wanted to last 10 years, but it's just it's difficult because I don't have anybody to, what they say, accountability partner. I had
Now
one.
you do.
Now you do.
Well, because I had one when it came to something else in my past, and it helped. So I know this is going to help.
All right, so
I heard something once. My coach said, if you don't have time for health, you're going to have to make time for disease and illness later. And that is a true fact.
Oh, I've seen it.
Yeah. And I promise you, disease and illness is going to cost you far more money, and it's going to be way more exhausting.
Oh, I already had my gallbladder taken out, so I know how that is.
But I think you have to look at the value, the quality of your life will improve so much. you'll have more energy. You'll be just be able to enjoy life more, I believe. And I think you'll have more self-confidence and go out, and I think it'll change your life actually. But I think that you can't keep saying, I think that the first step for you is, we have breathing and hydration. I think we're going to bump the steps. The first step for you is that you have to change your mindset. I mean, and stop saying it's difficult and say, you can do hard things. So there's no reason. And it's not, think about it. You're not battling cancer. That would be a hard thing. And, you could be on that path. So picking up a rotisserie chicken isn't really that hard when you think about it in the scope of life and disease and health. So you just got to make a decision. You're going to do it. And
how bad do you want it?
Well, I do. I mean, like I said, that would be a better life choice, even, at my age. So yeah, definitely something I want to do.
And how often do you have two hot women who are going to be your accountability partners and all over you? So you take advantage of it when you can.
Never. So
how many people would like to trade places with you right now?
Exactly.
I could think of a few.
So let's talk about Randy's game plan. So let's go back to the breathing. Have you done any of that, Randy?
Yeah, I did a little. I've been so wrapped with stress and work and school, and it's been difficult. I've been drinking more water though. So.
All right, perfect. And Amber, correct me if I'm wrong and jump in, but isn't the breathing supposed to help with the stress and being wrapped up with work and all of those things?
So, breathing, we do it every day, but it doesn't, like if you're driving in your car, it doesn't take but 15 seconds to breathe in to a count of 5, breathe out to a count of 5. And if you really want to trigger that the paravagal nerve, so breathe in for 5 seconds, hold for 5 seconds, and then breathe out for 5 seconds. And you're actually triggering the main, it's actually a vein, but I say it's more like a muscle in regards to the fact that it triggers your parasympathetic nervous system to calm down and relax. So you just breathe into a count of 5, hold for a count of 5, and then breathe out to a count of 5. And you can do it while you're driving, while you're walking, if you're laying in bed. I find myself doing it all. Anytime somebody stresses me, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to breathe. Hold on. I can't even talk to you until I breathe. First, they say don't say anything till you count to 10. So that's pretty much what I do. I breathe in, hold, breathe out, and then it's amazing how my mindset changes as far as what I'm going to say. Because before I'm breathing, I'm like getting ready to bite down, jump down their throat. And it just changes the whole perspective. Doesn't mean that some mean things don't still come out of my mouth, but it does have a way of changing your mindset.
Well, I mean, how often do you do that a day, though?
How often do I do it?
Or how often should someone, do it?
I would say shoot for 5 times a day. Shoot for, the 5 breaths, 5, 5, 5, 5 times a day, and do it for 30 seconds each time.
Okay.
So you're looking at 2.5 minutes in a day. That's it.
Yeah.
The best way is to set a little reminder on your phone. So obviously you want to do it when you become stressed or you're agitated or anything, but sometimes you might have a day with no stress or agitation. So just set a little reminder. I have a app on my phone called Mind Jogger, and I set various reminders, but breathing is one of those. Yes.
Okay.
So there are workaways, like even if you don't have somebody calling you up saying, hey, let's do a breathing exercise, get an app. There's plenty of them out there.
Okay. Yeah, I'll look into that.
And yeah, I don't even know if you need an app. You can set an alarm on your phone.
Yeah.
That's already a part of your phone. And I don't want you to think, Randy, that this is going to be easy for me either. I mean, I've really, I've been struggling with my health in the last couple of months, and I have to get back on track too. So I'm going to be right there with you. I'm going to need an accountability partner as well. So we're in it together, and I'd like to lose a good 10 to 15 pounds, and COVID wasn't kind to me. In some ways it was, but in other ways it wasn't. So I'll need you too, Randy. Well, we need each other. And so how have you been doing with the water in regards? Now, do you track all of those things? I find it's much.
I haven't.
Yeah, it's much easier for me when I'm keeping track. There's also an app called Water Reminder, and then you can just input. If I have a bottle of water, I just put in 16 ounces, or my bottle's usually 20, and I refill it. And then I try to keep track of it like that. So that's another another option with the apps. And MyFitnessPal will track all of it. They'll track the water, and I know you said you don't have a lot of storage on your phone, but all of these challenges are really not that difficult to overcome. You might have to delete a few other apps, but I think it's something you can do.
You can't manage what you don't measure. And I know me, like I might be able to keep track with how much water I drank yesterday, but ask me in 3 days and I'm not going to be able to tell you. No way. So yeah, I have to keep track of it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I drink about 3 of these a day. So
well, that's good. So those are about 16.9, I believe, about 17 ounces. So yeah. So all right. So our challenge, I think our challenge is to double that. Let's get 6 a day.
Okay.
What do you drink when you don't drink those?
Huh?
What are you drinking when you're not drinking those?
Energy drinks and soda and coffee.
How much sugar's in those energy drinks?
A lot.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I know I gotta cut back. I know a couple people that ended up with a minor heart attack because of energy drinks. So
now, why do you drink them? For the caffeine?
Yeah.
Because they have water drops, the Mio drops that are flavorful, and you add it to your water, and they have caffeine. So you can go ahead and get those, and they have 0 calories. So there's no sugar in them. And not that we always want, I don't have an issue with artificial sweeteners. I use those. Some people don't, but and soda, is it regular soda or diet soda?
Oh, it's regular. Yeah.
So if you cut out the soda and the energy drinks, I think you would lose weight almost instantaneously without even having to worry about your food. I mean, the calories in those, I think in a can of soda is about 140 calories. And I don't know how many of those you have a day, but you're drinking a 2 liter?
No, it's a one liter.
And how many calories are in a whole 1 liter?
How many grams of sugar?
Per bottle, 410 calories.
And how many grams of sugar? I forgot, we're not counting calories.
Sugar's 110 grams.
Oh my God.
So yeah, it's a lot. I drink one. So
that's your amount of sugar you should have in about a 4-day period. And you're drinking them every day. I think Joanna's right. If you eliminated just the soft drinks and your energy drinks, you would lose probably every bit of 20 pounds. Easy. Now, let me ask you. So you drink those for the energy, obviously, right? How often, though, do you drop? Does your energy come spiraling down after that? So after about an hour or two, does it not come crashing down?
Yep.
And then you're reaching for another one, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very vicious cycle.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And especially when I'm on graveyards, it's like I can have like 2 regular size energy drink cans in in a night, and it takes me all the way until I get home, and then I'm eating something immediately when I get home, and I'm in bed, and I'm just feeling the rest of the day when I do wake up. So.
And unfortunately, when we consume all that sugar, it doesn't just affect us that day. It generally affects us the next day. It's a vicious cycle. I would encourage you, if you did nothing else, if you didn't change the way you eat, continue to go through McDonald's if you want to. Just eliminate those 2 things. And coffee is actually not bad for you. It's what we put in coffee that makes it so bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to tell you a story, Randy, about the detriments of sugar. So there were 2 periods in my life, and it was extreme. I gave up sugar in entirety. I ate very little sugar for probably, I would say I ate no sugar. I was only eating, the only sugars that I would have would be in condiments or salad dressings, and most of the time I would just have a little bit of sugar-free ketchup. So there were 2 periods in my life when I was on pretty extreme diets where I only ate meat and vegetables, and even very limited fruits. I'm not a big fruit person. And I remember after about a year's period of time, I went to a wedding, and I think I went to a wedding and I had a piece of cake. And in the night, I woke up and my legs were in convulsions. And that's happened to me a couple of times when I'm dramatically cut back on sugar. And I think that just speaks to the impact and the impact of sugar on our system. I mean, it was really actually frightening, and it was actually painful. So I know that sugar is very unhealthy. Even now, if I have, if I do that, I go to a party and I have too much sugar, there are times I wake up with those excruciating cramps and convulsions in my legs or spasms.
Joe, when you went without sugar, when you had that piece of cake, did it actually taste good?
It did not. No.
Yeah.
Nope.
So our taste buds change when we eliminate things. Our taste buds will dramatically change. Not to mention that all of these food and drinks that are loaded with sugar, that these people spend millions of dollars putting chemicals in there that like change the way our taste buds they act. And so after we eat it, it makes us crave them even more. So once you eliminate that, you'll find that like these healthier options that don't sound very appealing right now actually end up tasting pretty good. I know that I typically don't eat sugar. And the other day, if I'm really hungry, it's like I'm eating whatever's in sight, like the first thing I can get my hands on. And I happened to be at my mom's and she had this caramel popcorn, pre-pop. And I ate it and I felt like I was eating plastic. Like it was so disgusting because my taste buds just weren't used to sugar. So if you eliminate those things, then when you eat the sweeter foods that are just naturally made, you're going to feel so much better. I promise you. It does take a while. Now, let me caution everybody out there. When you go to eliminate sugar, sugar is the number one drug that everybody's addicted to. It's not heroin. It's not cocaine. It's not marijuana. It's sugar because everybody has access to that. So there are going to be some withdrawal symptoms. So when you feel those, a little bit of lethargy, tiredness, that's not a sign to reach for it again. It's a sign to give your body like 72 hours to just go through the process of getting rid of that. It's not unlike coming off of any other drug that you've ever done. You're going to feel the effects of it for a little bit. But if you just hang tight and stick with it, the amount that you will feel better, I promise you, will be better than any food or drink that you ever put in your mouth.
Yeah, and as you were mentioning right around when the show was starting, it's that willpower. And that is what I lack really bad. I lack willpower to just be like, okay, it's been a few days. I haven't had a soda. I'm going nuts. Okay, I'm going to the store and getting a soda.
But what is the draw? What is the power? What is the appeal of the soda? Is it the caffeine? Because there are other ways to get that. The water drops, I know that sometimes artificial sweeteners have a little bit of an aftertaste, but I find that the water drops don't. And they have so many flavors, blackberry, cherry. They may even have one that's similar to Dr. Pepper. I'm not sure. The Mio drops, they have a whole variety of flavors. You can start with that.
Do they give you the energy, Joe? Does it give you energy? You said it's got caffeine in it. Does it give you the same energy?
Some versions have caffeine, and I don't drink a lot of caffeine. I've never tried coffee, and I very rarely have tea or anything like that. And sometimes there's some, and I think it depends how much you put in, but it upsets my stomach because that's too much caffeine if I put too much in, or if I do it on an empty stomach. So I know it has caffeine, and I know if it's, it does give me energy in the morning. I do it as a pre-workout sometimes. So I think it would probably be a better option than what you're having right now.
So the next time that you're going without the sugar and you are just dying to reach for it, call up your accountability partner. Post on the Coast to Coast Facebook group. I'm in this challenge, and let's say you can't get a hold of Joe. I'm in this challenge and I'm wanting to drink. I guarantee you somebody will reach out and help you and give you some incentive. Or DM me. I have no problem helping you out.
Okay. Kind of like a virtual smack my hand saying no.
It's all about support. We can't do it on our own. Absolutely cannot do it on our own.
And we don't want you to hide it from us if you do have it, because we're just looking for progress. We're not looking for perfection. We're not here to really do a smackdown.
Progress over perfection.
But think about it. Think about how easy it would really be just to replace those two drinks. you could still, let's just track that for a week. I mean, it's going to be a little bit more difficult because you're going to be away, but you could still, even if you just, that would probably be, well, you'll be drinking beer, I assume there, but, even that, I don't know what we do about that. That's going to be a tough one. Alcohol. But do you drink alcohol, the energy drinks, and the soda all weekend?
No, it's mostly alcohol, Gatorade, and water when I go camping.
Is it the full Gatorade or do you get the Gatorade Zero?
It's the actual Gatorade. In fact, one's in my fridge.
So instead of buying the regular Gatorade, don't eliminate Gatorade. That's fine. Just buy the Gatorade Zero. So it's still going to give you the energy, but it's not going to give you all the sugar.
So what can we commit to this week, Randy? Can we commit to drinking 6 bottles of water instead of 3? Try and give up those sugar-filled drinks. Have the Gatorade Zero. Try to pick up some of those water drops and just try those 2 things for the week.
Sounds good to me, because much more probably won't be able to because of going camping this weekend. So I can do those though.
All right, so those are some small steps. Do you have a scale, or should we be tracking our weight? I mean, what do we do about that, Amber? Does weight matter? I mean, there are 2 schools of thought on that.
It is the easiest way to gauge if you've made any progress, but the other way is how do your clothes fit? Do you have clothes that like fit you snug right now? Could you gauge by doing that? Or you can always take your measurements as well. Typically, you might not see a change in measurements for about 21 days, where you might see a couple of pounds off the scale. Do you not have a scale, or do you not have access one?
Actually, I have access at work, so.
Okay. So weigh yourself before you go on vacation, and then weigh yourself when you get back. I would not recommend weighing yourself every day, because we fluctuate 5 to 10 pounds every day of water weight. And I know that I'm not so nuts for men, but I know women, and we get on that scale and we're like, oh my God, I'm up 3 pounds and I've done everything right. So it tends to be like a mental hack. But once a week is pretty good. I actually tell my clients every 21 days, because I don't want them to get hooked on that number, especially if you're working out. Because if you're doing resistance training, muscle weighs more than fat. So sometimes you might be losing weight, but the number on the scale isn't going to reflect that because muscle weighs more. So once a week, but for you, just like for this week, weigh yourself before you go on vacation. And then, actually weigh yourself the next time you go to work, and then weigh yourself before you go on vacation, and then when you get back.
Yeah, I go to work tonight, so yeah, I'll do that tonight then.
And is that the last time you're going before vacation? You working?
No, Thursday night's my Friday, so it would be Thursday night before I go.
All right, well, I think you should do it both, because you may even see progress by tomorrow if you give up those things. Maybe not, but just the water alone, if you're doubling that water, I think you're going to see results. Maybe enough results to prompt you to want to keep you on track this weekend.
And I tell you what, I'll make a deal with you. Well, I don't know how much of a deal this is. Let me just challenge you. So let's say you do go reach for one of those energy drinks. If you're going to reach for an energy drink, I want you to drink an entire 16.9 ounce bottle of water before you ever drink that energy drink. Water is actually your greatest source of energy, but your body's not used to relying on water right now because it's used to rely on those artificial stimulants. So if you need the energy drink because you're feeling deprived or you're just feeling so exhausted, that's fine, but drink another bottle of water before you do that.
Okay. Yeah, I can do that.
It'll also probably fill you up a little bit more, and you won't be able to actually consume that much of this. So there's like a method behind my madness.
Oh yeah, I can definitely do that. And I'll keep Joanne in the loop on all that,
All right. I'll be checking on him. I'm going to be checking on him all night. I wake up in the middle of the night. No, I'll be texting you, Randy.
Yep. And I'll be awake, responding, behaving.
And I know people who work with you, so I'll be asking for pictures. If you see Randy, I'll be contacting Jody. I'll be all over Adam. Who else? I'm going through all your contact lists.
That's it.
I'll have Jason drive over. I'll pay him to drive 2 hours to check on you. Well, I know. I'm going to ask Jason. He'll keep an eye on you this weekend for me.
Oh, he will.
I'll have to tell
And I
him.
know it's going to be difficult, Randy, because anytime we change habits that we're so accustomed to, it's always difficult in the beginning. But like Joanne said, we can do hard things, and the payoff, you're going to feel so much better. It will be worth it. It's hard temporarily, but it's a much bigger payoff.
Well, see, I started drinking soda when I was like 11 or 12. And so that was 24 years ago. So, I mean, I'm going from doing something, over 2 decades ago to.
What about diet sodas? I'm not an advocate necessarily for diet sodas, but if we're just trying to get off the sugar until we can totally eliminate the sodas altogether, is that an option for you?
At one time it would have been, but then I've heard so many bad things about aspartame or whatever they call it.
Sugar?
Yeah, artificial sugar. We'll go with that. I've heard they're like, it's healthier drinking regular than diet. So, and I mean, every once in a while I would drink a diet because my stepmom drinks Diet Pepsi. But yeah, from my understanding, it's much healthier from what I've been told, to drink regular than diet because you don't have that artificial sweetener in it.
Well, I'm going to challenge you on that because many of the diet soda companies, the major brands, no longer use aspartame. Many of them use different derivatives. Stevia is fine, and I think sucralose is fine. Those two are fine, but aspartame, I think, is pretty much out of the game, out of the diet soda game. The companies don't use that anymore. I'm going to check it. I'm looking it up, and I think. What is your preference, Dr. Pepper?
Dr. Pepper or Pepsi?
So we'll look it up with Steve.
Back in the 1970s, the sugar industry paid Harvard to release a study that said that heart disease was related to fat. So if you notice, our food industry went through this low fat, fat-free craze that we're still in today. Unbeknownst to the general population, that sugar was the number one culprit. It is the number one culprit of cancer, diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, obesity, you name it. Sugar is the number one thing. So although sugar substitutes are not exactly, a health food, they're still 10 times better than sugar. And yes, I agree with Joanna. They're not generally using the worst case substitute aspartame anymore. I'm not saying that the other ingredients are, on the top 10 list of health foods, but they're still going to be better than full-fledged sugar.
Right.
And think about the risks of obesity and just that alone, diabetes, heart disease, all of those things, not even just sugar. I mean, that's so much more dangerous. And I don't want to call you out, but you're talking about that, but you also have another bad habit that you're putting some chemicals into your body. I don't know if we can. So
baby steps.
All right. So, okay. But I'm saying if you're smoking and then you're worrying about what's going in your diet soda, I think you're not smoking. You're not
point there.
So I'm going to challenge you a little bit. I think you can suck it up. You can risk it. If you're worried about cancer, I think that the smoking is probably worse than the diet soda.
I want to comment. Justin is asking me about exercise for pregnant people. Justin, we will cover that next week, is when we're going to be in Grateful Movement, and I will make sure that if you have a friend that's pregnant and she's worried about exercising, I will make sure and cover that next week.
And then you know what? There is aspartame it looks like there is aspartame in Diet Dr. Pepper, but there is another brand of soda out there that is called Zevia. Have you tried that? Zevia.
Never heard of it.
And it's in the stores, and it's a healthy version of soda, and it only has stevia, and they have they don't call it Dr. Pepper. It's like Dr. I don't know, Dr. something or Dr. Pip or something like that. Okay. But it tastes like Dr. Pepper, and that has.
Oh, they have Mr. Pibb, but.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the one, because that's not the Zevia brand.
I've never heard of it over here anyway.
Well, you probably never looked for it either.
Yeah.
There is that. Never heard of it, never seen it, never looked for it.
Let me see what Diet Pepsi is sweetened with.
That's really shocking that they still use aspartame.
So I'll have to do some research. I'm not sure if it says. I know they switched to sucralose at one time. So which diet sodas do not contain aspartame? Well, we'll look into it, but and I'll get back to you. So you'll be hearing from me frequently this week, so I'll be all over that.
All right.
I mean, we talk frequently already, but now it's going to be
Now it's game on, Randy.
now it's game on.
Now it's a mission.
Now it's a mission, right? So I just want to shout out Justin. He's put a lot of comments out there. We've kind of been focusing on Randy, so we didn't get to all of his comments. And he's always very complimentary. He's saying we know what we're talking about, and then the exercise, and further up, he was talking about it. And, Justin, I know that you're talking about the Olympics and mental health. And I just want to tell you that the Bo and Joe show is going to really talk about all of those things. So hop on that on Wednesday, tomorrow night at 9. Actually, we're on at 10. Tomorrow night at 10. And we're going to speak about all of those things. We're going to talk about Naomi. We're going to talk about Simone Biles. We're going to talk about all of the things that are impacting the Olympic athletes and their mental health. So we're definitely going to talk about that. I want to see what you're talking about here in regard to fast food. Some people ask about if jumping rope helps with stress. I would say yes, any form of exercise and cardio would help with stress if that's what you're utilizing it for. You're saying Jerry Remy beat cancer. He's a Red Sox commentator. We're always happy and thankful to hear success stories. So we weren't ignoring you, Justin. I just wanted to put out that, but we thought it was important to really random. We were getting down to the top of the hour, so I know I'm going to catch up with you, Justin, on tomorrow's 2 shows, and we talk offline as well. So any of these questions, we can discuss those. All right, so I know that. All right, good, Justin. I appreciate it, and I appreciate you being our number 1 fan, Justin. We all appreciate that on Coast to Coast. So we don't take that for granted. So, all right, Randy, we're going to give you a minute to talk about. We're at 7:58. We're going to give you a minute to talk about. Well, Amber, do you have anything else you want to cover this week?
No.
All right, so great. All right, so Randy, we'll give you a minute to talk about what your thoughts are and talk about how successful you're going to be. I can see it in your face. You're motivated and disciplined and ready to go.
Oh, I am so tired. My actual goal is well, let me get back to that. No, I had gallbladder surgery when I was, about, I want to say 5 years ago. And, there was a 30-day thing where you couldn't eat fat, anything, high in fat, no fats, definitely. And because I had changed my diet for 30 days, I lost, probably 15, 20 pounds, with the diet change. And then it's like, oh, the 30 days is up. I can eat whatever I want again. And then I added probably, 50, 60, 70 pounds. So, and my doctor years ago said that I was at 210, 209, and they said that was way too, I'm like 30 pounds overweight. Now I'm at like 260, 270. So it's just like, I've got to get it back down there. I've seen, my dad's diabetic, and I've seen, it's like, well, I don't want to be diabetic. It runs in the family. I need to lose weight, so I'm not diabetic. So I'm actually looking forward to this and changing things around. So,
right.
and hopefully later on be like in 4 years hit, less than 4 years now, almost 3, hit 40 and actually have abs. So for the first time in my life. So
all right, that's a goal. I love it.
That's a good goal. Yeah.
And then Amber,
how difficult was it during that 30 days?
Huh?
How difficult was it during that 30 days?
Oh, it was real difficult. I mean, it was around Thanksgiving. So
how good did you feel though when you were how good did you feel? Like, how did your physical health? Did you have more energy? Did you feel good when you lost that weight?
I did. It felt a little better, and I didn't have all that fat in my system. I wasn't eating all that, and it kind of sucked because it was during Thanksgiving, and I was around family eating all this food with Thanksgiving, and there were only selected few things I could eat. Everything else I couldn't, but I felt good about it though.
And I want to say this: it was difficult, but you did it. You did it, which proves that you're capable of doing it. You're strong enough to do it, and food doesn't control you because you were able to do it when your health was on the line. And we're in that same position today. You're going to do it because your health is on the line.
I did a lot of complaining though. I did a lot of whining and going, "Oh, this ain't fair," but I did it. So,
well, I have a feeling you're not going to whine to me.
I was going to say,
she's not gonna listen.
Expect me to go, "This sucks." I just want a big fat cheeseburger, and you'd be like, "No, Randy, no, don't do it."
Well, but you can have a cheeseburger. There's no reason you can't have a cheeseburger. That's the thing. You can have what you want. You can have it on a different type of bread, perhaps. There's nothing wrong with having a cheeseburger.
Or make it yourself, and it's not cooked in all those fatty oils and stuff. So when you make the foods at home, you can have pretty much anything you would get if you went to a restaurant. It's just that you're controlling what it's cooked in, so you're controlling the health of it.
And we're not even at that part. We're just concentrating on your beverages this week.
Yeah.
So,
well, then I'll be going, "Man, I'm so tired. I need an energy drink." You'd be like, "No,
you're not. You're gonna get the Mio with caffeine. You're not gonna need it." All right, so I'm gonna throw it to Amber. And let before we close it out, I do have 2 things to say. I want to tell, of course, I always like to thank Chris. Chris is the man behind the scenes. Thanks for putting up with us when we had a little bit of stress with our technical difficulties. And I also want to give a shout out to, we have a special show on Coast to Coast tonight, just coming up, I believe, at 8:30. We have Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry is coming on to do a special show, and K&A Custom Crafts. And Suzanne is actually, she's not just a sponsor, she's part of the Coast to Coast family. She's Adam and Jason's mom. So we certainly want to support them, and they've been great to the network. And in turn, we want to, I'm going to quote Jay and say, we want to show them some love like they showed us. I love that line.
Yeah, she kind of adopted me as a son too. So,
well, I always say you're an honorary B brother, not an honorary Barbara brother. So I can certainly see why I'm adopting you too as my accountability partner. And then I'm going to let Amber close the show tonight. She's the star here, and she's our captain and our guru. So you close it out, Amber.
So really, I just want to say what we're doing with Randy. I want everybody, just take one small thing. You don't have to radically overhaul your diet. Just take one bad habit, eliminate it, and incorporate one good thing. Don't try to do everything at once. You won't stick to it. And our goal is long-term success. So we want to take baby steps, because we can do hard things, guys. We can do it because we will feel better and we'll live longer.
And we can do hard things is actually, I don't know where my sticker is, but it's actually a quote. I interviewed a woman who was actually extremely athletic, and her name is Fitz Kohler, and she's in the running community, and she, oh, here it is right here, and she got cancer, a very radical form of breast cancer, and she fought back, and she was able actually to overcome it because of how fit and strong and healthy she is, and she's a young woman. So I don't know if you can see, but this is the sticker she gave me. I can do hard things. So I keep this on my keyboard here, by my computer, and that reminds me, I can do hard things too, because I don't often have a lot of willpower either, Randy. Sometimes I just fake it until I make it, and I force myself to do things until I get into the groove. So this could be our slogan. We might steal it from her. We can do hard things.
Sounds good.
Thanks, Randy, for being here and
Yeah,
taking up
thank
the
you.
challenge. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys.
All right, so thanks everybody. We're going to see you next Tuesday. We'll see you tonight, hopefully at 8:30, and I'm not sure what else we have coming up, but tune into Coast to Coast. We have a wide variety of programs and a lot of personalities and stars. We have Randy actually is the host of the Movie Hour, and that's a popular program on the Entertainment Network as well. So check us all out wherever you can, and we'll see you soon. Thanks everybody. Play us out, Chris.